We are so excited for this episode. We are going to be talking anime. The team has been offline talking for weeks about this episode. We're super excited to be coming back to you. I'm really happy to bring back our guest, the Moose.
The Moose.
What's up, guys?
Special on board for the anime episode. I sat hours and hours in line at Comic-Con with Moose to get into Dragon Ball and My Hero. So, Moose, welcome to the Dabble Den.
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
What's going on, Moose?
Just living the dream day in, day out.
You ready to talk some anime?
Oh, I'm ready to talk some anime.
All right, let's go.
Let's get ready to go. So, obviously, my name's Moose. I got into anime actually 2 years ago after Comic-Con, after having lots of in-depth conversations about Dragon Ball, My Hero, and that kind of stuff. And so it's been about 2 years of ongoing anime obsession. My first anime was actually My Hero. I wanted to kind of dip my toe in the waters first before I just fully dived in. Just so much rich history on different shows. And then for me personally, I usually do sub. I like the authentic feel to the show. I don't have a problem reading the subtitles, but if I'm busy, I do dub. So
nice. Yeah, so I got into anime back in the Toonami age, where it was showing up on Cartoon Network after school. That's when I really started watching it back when I was a teenager, and that was Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, a lot of Inuyasha stuff. Those are my first set of shows that really came out and really started enjoying there. And so I don't really have a first episode, right? They all kind of just started playing off on the same time. I'm more of a dubbed guy. Normally when I'm sitting there watching anime, one, again, Toonami was all dubbed and didn't really have any sub stuff. And then two, when I go back and watch anime now, I'm watching it while I'm doing something else. So I can't, like Moosh was saying, you can't really just read the subtitles, and I don't speak Japanese. So I honestly have to stick to more of the dub.
That's awesome. So I'm the oldest one in the group. I've watched anime for 36, 37 years now. So the first ones I watched were it's in my brain, it's jumbled, but it's either Battle of the Planets or Macross, which are the original American version of a stolen Japanese show that they brought over and put on American TV and kind of kludged together. So those are my first, but I'll freely admit I dropped after I was 12 or 13 when Saturday morning cartoons stopped, and I didn't watch anime again for 15 or 20 years. But I date back to the original American anime. And then I'm a dubbed guy if I can't. So if possible, I'm also extremely impatient. So if I get caught up with something on dubbed and then there's more out there that are subbed, I will switch over to Crunchyroll and then finish it off subtitled. If I can't wait, I'm just not going to wait for
it. All right. Well, I've been watching anime for over 20, 30 years. Yeah, I don't remember the time frame, but I know my first one that I do remember actually watching was going to be a show called Ronin Warriors. So I don't know if anybody has ever checked that out. I always thought one of the bad guys turned good guys, Anubis was one of the coolest characters ever. I may have been wrong. I don't know if it holds up well. I'll have to go and double check and watch it once again. But yeah, that's really one of my first ones that I ever ended up watching. And I'm a dubbed guy. I know that a lot of the purists are going to say, oh no, why? Sub, it is the only way to watch it. Yeah, I try. I'm watching this at night, trying to go and read. My eyes are forced to drop down to be able to read it. I fall asleep. I went 5 episodes into a new anime. Don't know what happened because I went asleep. Fell asleep on the first episode halfway through it. So I'm a dub guy. It's just easier for me. I can go ahead and still pay attention to the world around me as well. I don't like having to tell people, shh, I'm reading. So
like me, reading's hard. So I really just need somebody to read to me.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's some voices actors that I like better the subbed version over the dubbed version. And then sometimes your brain processes it. There's a lot of, I can't tell you which episodes of My Hero I watched subbed and dubbed. They've all melded together. So you know, I think everybody has a preference, and if you're like, there's a lot of purists out there that if you're not watching the subs, yeah, they'll yell at you.
Yeah, so if we've already offended you because most of us like dubbed, I'm sorry. We'll try to make it up to you in another show. But today we're talking about popular anime. So we're going to be looking at a lot of the mainstream animes that it's going to be easy to pick up and find pretty easily. So we're going to go and try to really highlight things that we can find on Netflix or a Hulu or even on Cartoon Network, things that we can kind of really get in touch with and get started if we haven't already started this anime quest. To see what's out there. But one of the first things I want to go and ask everybody is, what is your genre? Do you have a genre? Do you guys like a certain type of anime? Because I myself, I like any anime that there's going to be some fighting. I like my action anime. I like superhero animes. But I also like the darker stuff. So I like a lot of the mature ones where it's some type of a death game. And I can go give some examples of that, but I just want to hear what kind of genre you guys are looking at right now. What do you guys enjoy? What do you guys don't like? I don't know about the lighthearted, and I hate to say this, but you know, more young girl oriented animes. It's just not there, and I want to hear if any one of you guys watch that, to see if that we're equally represented in different type of genres or not. If not, we may have to get another perspective soon.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, this is one of the reasons why I enjoyed watching it as a teenager was the action packed. You know, you look at Dragon Ball Z, you look at Zoids, you look at Rurouni Kenshin, a lot of action packed stuff. But I also like seeing the underdog really have to fight through some kind of battle that doesn't look like they're going to win. You're sitting there going, wait, what's going to happen here? How are we going to get through this? And a good anime really capitalizes on that.
For me, I used to like, and then I don't know what the genre is called, but like kind of the mechanical, you know, the fighting robots or, you know, mech kind of stuff. But now it's pretty much, I probably watch the least amount of everybody in the group, I think, but I'm pretty much just superhero. And then I don't know what genre is Attack on Titan, you know, like One Punch and Attack on Titan isn't so much superhero, but well, One Punch is. But yeah, I'm pretty much just superhero. That's where I got honed in on now.
Yeah, One Punch is definitely superhero, Tory.
But my hero isn't superhero, right?
Okay. What about you, Moose? What's your genre? What's your preference?
I'd say probably still superhero going along. I just love the idea of just having these outside powers outside of, like, you know, just the norm. And so I'd feel superhero, and then I also like some lighthearted, but then also some that have some real depth to them, some real heart. I mean, there's only been a handful of shows I could list on one hand that have made me cry, and some of them have been anime. It's just because it gets to you, really hits your, you know, the heartstrings. And so between that and then some of the darker, one of the more thought-provoking ones, like I loved Death Note. Death Note was so just like in your head, mental, like, and it was like so just twisty, turny, dark, and like it was so addicting to watch that kind of anime. But then of course you have like your more goofy, lighthearted, and then you have your just attack, like, you know, Dragon Ball. You just duke it out and, you know, power levels.
30 minutes of powering up.
That doesn't happen anymore.
And that's good. I really like that about it, how they identified that was kind of obnoxious. And my first experience was with the first Dragon Ball, and I dismissed it early on. It was one of the first ones with Son Goku and Bulma. They were having one of their adventures. I think it was episode 3 or 4. I didn't even see the first one. I'm like, this is funny, but I just couldn't get into it early on. Dragon Ball Z, it was on Cartoon Network. I don't know if it was Toonami, but I know it was for sure on Cartoon Network. I don't know which block they had it on, but I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the characters, but the thing is that they were fighting the same guy for 1,000 episodes, and the arc would move so slowly because, to your point, they were powering up for so long. So I think Dragon Ball Super has come a long way into trying to go ahead and get it a little bit cleaner, quicker pacing, which is, I think, a lot more newer fans are starting to hop on and wanting to go see the older episodes as well. And even the alternative non-canon episodes here.
Yeah, and they re-released Dragon Ball Z too. I think it was Dragon Ball Z Kai, where they took out a lot of the powering up stuff, the little stuff that was just filler.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, if you're going to be going back to Dragon Ball, I would say go Dragon Ball Kai. It's just so much cleaner and much better overall experience than going through all the Dragon Ball Z. But if you like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball in general, go watch Dragon Ball Z by all means. I think that's what made Dragon Ball the icon that it is right now.
Powering up, baby.
No, that's all Tory will be doing the rest of the episode. Stick in for next time.
Yeah, but I know, Moose, you put it. You said something that I took out of your conversation just now, is the emotional part of it. I know you touched on Death Note, and Death Note is one of my all-time favorites. I mean, Light Yagami, I feel like became misunderstood a little bit towards the end there. Got a little too power hungry, but he I think he started off trying to go do the right thing. But I feel like even one of those things is there are a lot of great animes that have this emotional impact, make you feel something down into your core. And I know that for me personally, that came with my first episode of Cowboy Bebop. And I didn't know Cowboy Bebop existed until one night I was up. Also, I think it was Toonami late at night. Yep. And I think it was episode, if I look at it right now, episode 20. I don't know if you guys have watched the Cowboy Bebop. It was I don't know if I'm saying it right either, Pure Le Feu episode, where Spike is essentially taken to an amusement park to go and fight this madman who is impervious to any type of pain, and he's floating, and it's like the Disneyland parade, the fight scene, like the little light up Disneyland parade. And I thought it was so dark, and there's not a lot of speech or dialogue in that particular episode. And at night, in the middle of the night, when you're, I don't know how old I was, but I'm like, wow, what did I just see? This was crazy. It had me so pulled, and I needed more. And that became by far my hands down favorite anime. And none of the other episodes were anything like that particular one. But I think that's where that Cowboy Bebop does such a great show. It's such a great show because of it, because you have comedy, you have really big things that are taking place where, it's just, there's so much to it. I'm at a loss for words just thinking about that one episode. I apologize, but is there any anime that has done that to you where you're like, oh my God, what did I just witness? I need to see this through, or I didn't know that you can even feel this way from an anime or even a cartoon at that point?
For me, it's just more of my crying moment actually happened during Naruto Shippuden, and it was really, it's something simple as just acceptance. That was the biggest thing for me, because throughout the whole story of Naruto, he's always getting dissed on. He's getting just shunned by the entire village for something that he couldn't even control. Like, it wasn't his doing, but he's viewed as an outcast and very looked down upon. And so the moment he's accepted by his village, that kind of broke me down a little bit, because it's like, that's exactly what everyone is wanting in life. It's just that acceptance, just wanting to be acknowledged, wanting just to be loved. And so just seeing that moment, and I'm just getting goosebumps even right now thinking about that. It's something small as we acknowledge you, we view you as one of us now. That it was more of an overall feeling, because he's laying his body on the line, he's doing everything he can to be accepted, and when he finally reaches that pinnacle, that moment, man, it's just so satisfying to see that character's journey reach that culmination point. And then, of course, he goes on and keeps getting better and better and stronger, and becomes the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. So that's even cooler to experience that moment, that very first moment of, we view you as one of us. That to me overall was phenomenal. Yeah.
So this was Naruto,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, Naruto.
I haven't thought about that much, but that's a great point, because probably two of my favorites are Attack on Titan and My Hero, and both of those, especially My Hero, has those speech or either inner monologue moments of overcoming something impossible or sacrifice, or Attack on Titan has a bunch of where the generals are about to lead them in a battle and stop and do the speech before, and both of them like really cool enough that like my wife will walk in and like, oh, what are you watching? There's so much like drama and it seems so intense.
We're watching anime right now, okay?
Yeah, it's more than just what most people would that are not anime fans. They're just saying, oh, it's just a simple cartoon with just fan service. And I think that's anime does have that part of it. But I mean, I think we just gave some great examples of how much more it can be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're wearing one of the characters that has a lot of that back and forth now. Vegeta, is a character that comes in as a villain, right? You're like, man, this guy is terrible, and like has so many great moments, especially when he becomes Majin Vegeta, right? And you see that really back and forth, that struggle internally between, oh, I want to go back to who I was because that's who I feel like I was the strongest, and then really just does some really good stuff there, and great character development that comes back and forth with Vegeta.
Yeah, Vegeta is my number one favorite character. I feel he's misunderstood to an extent, and I can understand why. But I always root for him. I'm not a fan of Goku per se, even though I'm wearing a Goku style hat today. But I love Vegeta. The reason I keep coming back is for Vegeta to see what he's going to do, and I want him to go and ascend above what Goku can do because he's the Prince of all Saiyans there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, watching Trigun growing up was another great show where just like you had this person who was determined beyond anything else because of his past. He was going to do nothing but good. He wasn't going to kill anybody. He wasn't going to hurt anybody. And just watching the people around him change based off of his decisions moving forward and to everything going on and building up to the culmination of the episode where he's fighting the big villain and what his decision there is going to be. It's just, you just couldn't wait for the next episode. You're like, okay, how are we going to do this? What's going to happen next? How are we going to push this guy even further? And it was just great.
And that's one of the shows that really need to stick to. And I'm going to talk about anime not putting their best foot forward sometimes. So Trigun, great show. Vash Stampede. Wolfwood is one of my favorite characters later on in the series. It's a great overall. But that first episode, I'm like, what is this? This is kind of silly. It doesn't make sense. I didn't like it. And another one, and people may be shocked about it, I didn't like My Hero. I had to be convinced multiple times to watch it. I watched the first episode, second episode, third episode. I'm like, this is dumb. I don't care about this kid. I don't care about this story. It wasn't until I was forced myself to watch it and started seeing how they were building up every single character and all the kids going into their training and wanting to be heroes with their quirks. I thought it was amazing, but I run into that a lot where anime, the first couple episodes kind of suck. Yeah. Can you guys give any examples of episodes that you've for animes that you've seen that you're like, okay, I'm glad I stuck through it? Just because I know Naruto, one of those, didn't get into it. One Piece, I know it's big for a lot of people. I have no idea for One Piece. I know there are over 900 episodes. I can't do it.
Well, I think that's, it goes into kind of the genre, right? I mean, there's plenty of great movies and TV shows that are out there that are just like, you know what? I'm not a huge fan of that. Maybe, and so, but no, like I said, yeah, Trigun was kind of hard to get into right there in the early. A lot of those Toonami Adult Swim shows were kind of hard to like sit down. It's like, okay, well, this is, and they would do it strategically. They would have like Dragon Ball Z, and it's gonna be a filler 30 minutes, and then we're gonna go into Rurouni Kenshin, right? They're very strategic about that because some of them, I got one on here. One of mine that does stick out is one called Blue Gender, which was like Gundam and Starship Troopers kind of combined and thrown together. Yeah. Really weird concept, and it kind of started off weird. Didn't really get that good until a few episodes in. You're like, okay, well now we're killing bugs with giant mechanoid things. I'm definitely in now. But that's one that sticks out. It was kind of just one of those weird ones that was an all right one.
Well, I want to thank you, Tory, for making me. You were the last person that had to tell me just stick with it. So I do love My Hero, and I think My Hero is one of the biggest animes currently right now. I know that we've all touched on it a little bit, but what do you think makes My Hero stand above all the rest right now?
I remember having that conversation with you because I think we might have been at a Dragon Ball Z panel or something like that. I'm like, no, man, I'm telling you, it's good. But I had to be convinced the same thing. I gave it like 2 or 3 from my son, and I was like, I'm just not into this. And then I think he might have actually made me skip ahead to an episode where they were actually in the school, and I thought it was so cool. And then I went back and watched it. But, man, I don't know, because if you can catch that fire, like I really like where it's at now. Now that like the quirks are developed, you know who everybody is. You know, you got the villains kind of laid out, and then to me, I think people like it because of the quirks can be ridiculous, but somehow the writers have figured out how to make, you know, Hawks is like the number 2, or, you know, like they come up with these powers that you're like, oh, okay, so a kid can throw these purple balls that stick to things, and then he's going to be a superhero. Like, you know, it's not Superman and Green Lantern and Batman and like, you know, the typical template of like what a superhero is. Whoever wrote like when the writing room where they figured out what quirks were and how they can make, you know, that I can phase through something, and now that like I could be the most powerful hero ever. I think that's what's cool. You watch it, and some of them seem ridiculous, but they make us seem so cool.
Yeah. I think what I love about My Hero is just the ability, like you said, to have like the weirdest quirk in the world, but be able to make yourself out of something. And seeing that, and not just come out and, okay, now I'm the greatest. You don't ever get to see that. You get to see the struggles. You get to see how much time and effort and schooling and friendship that had to be there to be able to build yourself up to that point. It wasn't just, okay, I'm Goku. I got beaten down and back, and now I'm the most powerful thing in the world. You know, there's a lot of struggle that goes into that, and it is super awesome to see. And you know, I want to watch, you know, have my kids watch that. It's something to see, to help them see, watching that beat down and how to get back up and how to like go through these weird quirks that you may have.
I love it just because for a big example to me is like what the heroes would do to help preserve and help keep the peace and everything like that. You know, All Might is literally giving his body. He's like beaten down and bloodied, and like he's still like trying to fight and put on this persona of everything's all right with the, you know, fighting crime with a smile on his face. And then you have his competition, his number 2 of Endeavor, who's constantly trying to chase after him and failing, he seems, every single time. And then he finds out it's like, wait, this is all almost an act. And so you see like him fighting his jealousy and his resentment and his anger. And then as the season has progressed, like you start really feeling for Endeavor, and he's really like going from this angry man to now is like, okay, I have to do this for the people because it's my job now as number 1. I have to give everything I can. And that fight at the end, the season just, oh, that was incredible.
A whole season behind.
Catch up.
Oh yeah, catch up. That is
the only thing I can say. My
if
Hero,
you hate Endeavor, you're gonna like him at the end of it for sure.
My Hero does get a lot of filler episodes that I'm not a huge fan of, but when they hit a good episode, it is an amazing episode. But they do quite, the whole I forgot what was the school dance thing. I could have done without.
That was great. I love it.
And with what is his name? Gentleman criminal.
Oh, gentleman, criminal gentleman, gentleman criminal,
All right, what I just want to know before we go touch on another anime, who is your favorite character right now? In My Hero.
My Hero, okay.
Dan?
I'm trying to sit here and think because it's been 6 months since I sat down and watched an episode of My Hero.
Well, while I was thinking,
I'm really liking All Might right now. Right, him trying a different role other than a superhero. Right, he was a very successful superhero. Right, he almost didn't have to try to be a superhero. He had one defeat, you know, taking care of the other guy, but now he's trying to go in this role of a teacher. He can't just buff up like he would any other time and just go take care of the problem. He's got to figure out how he can take care of the problem by mentoring somebody else to go and do it. And speaking from a position where like I've gone from that person who's doing stuff to having to go and tell somebody else to do something and then not touching it is extremely hard to do. And watching them build that character around that and how successfully they do that and watching him struggle, I just enjoy that. And I love that.
Oh my, okay. Tory?
So I'm going to go the opposite. So to me, what makes any good superhero movie, show, or anything like that is you got to have good villains. That's why Justice League wasn't good. That's why I'm going with Overhaul. Like
Ooh.
the last season, that kid was dope. Like just
Don't mess with Overhaul.
like, blending them in. I thought Overhaul was an amazing addition. He was cool. You gotta have good villains. You're not gonna have a good superhero show without good villains.
That's fair.
Moose?
I'd say still mine. As I was going into the spiel earlier, is Endeavor. Just like he's hard to love because of his past and what like he's done to his family. Like you can't justify like everything that he's done in his past, but he's trying to make a change. And I think that's the important thing we got to take away from his work. It's like that struggle and that
for change, and not just be that violent one that's like, okay, how can you be a hero for fire? It's like I need to do this to help protect the people around and be that light, that example. So it's kind of like the same reason why I enjoy Vegeta being kind of like that bad guy is he's trying and he's struggling. It shows just how realistic that is. So not everyone can be just like that. All my heroes smile and everything's fine. It's like we all struggle with darkness, and so it's cool seeing his darkness and him trying to fight those demons.
Well, mine is very easy. I've mentioned it before. It's Bakugo. Yeah. Bakugo is a much deeper character than you guys all give him credit for. He's fiery, he's angry, but we've seen a couple of episodes where he really has a lot of feelings for Midoriya, and he wants to take care of him as best he can. But he's gonna be a man about it. So Bakugo, very complex little character.
He's cool. I think we're almost out of time, guys. That was like awesome conversation. I think we could talk and have another 2 or 3 episodes about anime or specific shows. It was like there's so much we didn't even like cover or glimpse. But I just want to close things up with our gym segment where we just pitched to you guys some amazing things we think you should check out. I'll lead it off. Mine this time is actually an app, and it's called Just Watch. Probably should have done it last time when we were talking Streaming Wars. It's an amazing app. You put in there any show, movie you're interested in. My Hero, the movie, put it in Just App, and it'll tell you where it's available for streaming, if it's available for streaming for free, best place to get it for 4K, and if it's not on any platform, it'll pop up and say HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, will tell you wherever it's at, and if it's not available for streaming, it'll pop up and tell you how much it costs on Amazon versus Google versus Apple, and tell you the cheapest place to find it. So you want to see like Knives Out, whatever movie you want to see, throw it in Just App. It'll tell you where you can watch it for free or where the cheapest place to buy or rent it is. Highly recommend that app.
You saved me like 10 years of my life. Right.
And then super excited for the rest of the guys because like we did not plan this at all, but I've seen their list. I would have said every one of these in a future episode myself. So it's nice to know where great minds think alike. I'll kick it off to Dan.
So one of my favorite movies growing up it was another sci-fi classic, right? Just one of those shows you only saw in sci-fi that actually hit off pretty huge. Tremors. If you've not seen Tremors or the giant worms that go up and eat people, was a phenomenal movie. I can't even remember what the budget was for this, but it was extremely cheap. But it's amazingly funny. Great character interactions. What was that?
Yeah, it's Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. That's all you really need to know. It's got a redneck in there who's crazy about guns, who is always shooting at stuff, and he goes on to all the rest of the movies. I think there's like 10 versions of it now.
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, and the original is now on Netflix, so you can go and watch it for the first time if you haven't already.
Graboids. Watch them.
So my little gem is I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and so I've always been wanting to get books. Well, now I'm at a job where I commute every day, 45 an hour, one way, so 2 hours a day in the car. I'm like, all right, we'll start reading books. So I've gotten into the original Thrawn Trilogy book series. Man, it's just that character is so rich in depth. Just like, he's so many moves ahead, so thought provoking, like absolutely incredible. Like you think you have it figured out, you don't have it figured out, and it's all set after the about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and the scrambling of the Empire to try to pick up the pieces of the destruction of Death Star 2 and of the Sith Lords, and like it's so interesting seeing how he goes about trying to collect the pieces to create a new empire, which is the first book compared to the Empire. So that is my
I've read them, listened to them all. Great book. All non-canon now that Disney owns Star Wars, but great book series. That's a great pitch.
Movies on them, but
So I don't know if you guys are having a little bit of trouble hearing Moose, but we're going to go and post all of our gems on our social media, so we'll get everybody knowing what we're actually talking about. Just I couldn't hear you guys, so just want to let all the viewers know we'll be able to take care of you of all of these recommendations. I want to thank everybody really coming in and tuning into this particular episode. My gems are going to be 2 video games. So during this COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people picked up the Switch. They picked it up primarily to go to play Animal Crossings. But now people are like, okay, I'm Animal Crossing out. What do I play next? And I name off the biggest ones: Smash, Zelda, Mario, all the big guys. But they're like, not interested. I'm like, okay, well, let me go old school. It's a remake of a PS2 game. It is Katamari Reroll. So on the PlayStation 2, Katamari Damacy came out. Amazing game. It's fun. It's quirky. You play as the prince rolling a little ball, and this ball captures everything. And you're just essentially making the ball bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're getting candies, paper clips, people, rats, random things, and you're making stars and constellations. Very weird concept, very great game. The controls are a little bit different. It just feels a little bit different than it did on a PlayStation controller, but you can go ahead and get it on the Switch. Katamari Reroll. And then I was thinking, okay, what other game did I really like a little while back? And it was a PlayStation portable game, which was Patapon. I like Patapon 1, Patapon 2. It's a little rhythm game. It has a lot of very interesting visuals, great characters. You're able to go and pick different character types, but it's all just rhythm and music based, and it's a really great game. I think everyone should go ahead and pick up if you haven't ever played it. I know it's been re-released on PlayStation, so you can go ahead and play it on PlayStation, PS4 if you wanted to, or you can go try to track down another PSP. But before we wrap up, I just want to know, just still talking about anime, do you guys have any anime that you're currently watching that you think people should watch that maybe not be a popular one? No?
I'm going back.
Mine are all. I'm just mainstream. I'd say One we didn't talk about was Attack on Titan. I love it. Final season's coming out. They just released a trailer for the final season.
Nice.
It's cool. The previous second to last season's kind of boring in politics. First 2 are awesome. I'm super looking forward to the last one.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, a lot of those old anime that I used to watch as a teenager, and now starting to hit the streaming services. So I'm actually going through Inuyasha right now, and it's great.
Nice.
Kind of going back a few years.
Cool. Moose?
And since I'm relatively new to the anime game, I'm still catching up on some of the big popular ones. So I'm actually working on Hunter x Hunter right now, and I actually plan on starting up Inuyasha shortly.
Mine's going to be a little bit violent. I like little kind of death games. It's everyone's running around with their phone with different powers. It's called Darwin's Game. It had the first season. Stick around after the first episode. That first episode is not make it or break. It gets better. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Oh, and we also made top 10 popular animes that we like, we watch, we would go ahead and recommend. We'll go ahead and post those on our social as well.
We really appreciate you guys joining us in the Dabble Den. Make sure and check us out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on everywhere. You're going to get awesome updates on new shows, new exclusives coming out. And you guys go out and watch some anime. Dragon Ball Z. Have a good one.
Welcome.